think it's important for everybody in the financial services industry, in the international industry. It's a big hub. There's lots of expatriates, so of all nationalities. It's a good time zone as well. So, you can be there and you can actually be working in other places, certainly as a CEO. So it's a good place, and it's always going to be attractive. It's tax-free. So that's going to attract people. And I think it's just a good place to be, and people like the Middle East in general. So it's attractive to recruits, it's attractive to expatriates, which of course is the bulk of our business. And so I've always travelled a lot, in fairness. So it was only really in COVID I was, stayed in the Middle East for longer. So if you actually look at my history, I was averaging 10 times round the world per annum. As I built the organisation. So you think that's 250,000 miles a year. So if you took my Trip It app, that's what you'll see. But the Middle East is obviously, it's an important place. So I get in and out of the Middle East. Unfortunately, I can't be with you today, so apologies for that. Reality is that I'm CEO. So I kind of have to stand back a little bit. If you're Ten Hag, you need to be on the touchline. I have to be a little bit careful I'm not, on the pitch playing, because I enjoy that. But I need to be, well, the Glaziers are not in the stand, are they? Sorry, I'm referring to, obviously, yourself as a Manchester United fan. But, my job is obviously to look at the business and really to be managing the business rather than be on the pitch, even if I want to be. So we have just over 100 advisors in the Middle East. I guess, if we went back 5-6 years ago, it would probably be slightly more. So 25-30% more people at that stage. I said the business has become more elite. I think that's just the direction that the business is going to go in. People want advice, but you particularly see the high net worth individual that wants advice. So that's our prime market and continues to be. So you need less people, but highly qualified people. So, I think being on the grey list is always difficult for any country. It's not talked about so much in the Middle East, but it does become more difficult. There's some jurisdictions, as you say, that therefore don't accept business because it's on the grey list. You see this around the world where countries go on the grey list and they work super hard to get themselves off it. That always increases regulations, by the way. So as soon as they're on the grey list, every country then works super hard to make sure they get the regulation. They actually go stronger, they perhaps go over the top just to make sure that they got it super regulated. So it reduces products, not necessarily something that's talked about there, but it does reduce to some level the products that are there. Lots of people moving there, including Russians. Middle East attracts people that are successful. So whenever there's difficulties in any country, and that doesn't obviously necessarily need to be the situation as we have at the moment, but it could be high tax, it could be that you're in a country that's difficult to work, and people will naturally go to the Middle East. But it goes back to your first question, why have we got a good presence there? It's just a good natural hub that people in difficult times want to be in, and actually in good times want to be in. So it's attracted right now lots of wealthy people, and I think it always will do. Still feel that we need more products. So, you understand consolidation. You're in an industry where there's a squeeze. Clients want reduced charges, and you understand that. What you get is less companies, less availability of product. And obviously, as an advisor, you'd rather a broader range of products to be available. So that kind of concerns, I think, everybody in the industry. If there's anybody watching that's a UK provider or a Irish provider or a Luxembourg, then there's a massive international market that really needs good product. So we don't want a shortage. We want lots of product, and we want lots of availability to be able to choose for our clients and to allow our clients a really great selection. So I've been through high interest rates before, been through inflation before, show my age now, Gary. And I just feel that we've got interest rates going up. It's more and more difficult, obviously, to get a mortgage, particularly if you're an expatriate. I feel that there's a difficult time. There's a squeeze in the property market, particularly in the UK. So we decided that we would not be advising people to invest. So we're still happy to advise on property, but we wouldn't be advising people to invest in property until the market had had a chance to settle down. So by that, I mean, I feel we've got still more interest rate rises within the UK, and indeed you saw this week with Europe. So you've got interest rates going up. It becomes more difficult to get the mortgage. It becomes more expensive. My logic is you get a flattening at the very least within the property market. And then my advice to a client is don't invest in property right now. Hang on for 6 months. Let's see where the market is. And there may be better opportunities in 6 months rather than right now. First of all, you need to give advice. So if you like, there's an uptick in advice because people want to know what's going to happen with sterling. But just imagine, I mean, let's do it as advisors. If you're earning in sterling, so let's imagine clients investing in sterling and you're being paid in dollars, okay, and your expenses are in dollars or dirhams because the dirham is fixed to the dollar. Okay, your expenses have gone up, but your income has stayed the same. So imagine you're an expat. It's the same thing for a client or any company. You can even see it with Microsoft, right? They're selling and the dollar's high. They've got the reverse problem. They're selling out and their goods are expensive. So currency is always an issue. As an advisor, if you're earning in sterling and your costs are in dollars, okay, you've got a rise in your costs or in dirhams, okay, without a rise in your income. Okay, so that's a squeeze. So I think it's difficult, and some advisors may want to choose to work somewhere else. They might want to be in Europe. So we've seen some advisors go, can I work in Europe? Okay, in other places. And I think you're going to see more of that. There'll be people today listening that are thinking, you know, Christmas is coming up. It's got more expensive. Schooling's got more expensive if you're in the UAE or if you're in the Middle East. If you're earning sterling terms, okay, your costs have gone up. Okay, would I be better in a different jurisdiction? So then you've also got clients, and when they invest their money, okay, let's say they've invested, if they've invested in sterling, okay, and sterling's gone down, and they ultimately want to be in dollars, okay, they could have lost money on the currency. The opposite occurs, of course, if you've invested in dollars and sterling's gone down, you've made money. So when's the right time to switch it across? Okay, my advice to clients is always don't take a currency risk if you can avoid it. So in other words, you've got two risks. You've got a currency risk as a client and you've got an investment risk. Okay, I can advise you on the investment risk, but currency is very, very difficult to predict. So if you're going to end up in sterling, rather than take a risk, actually put your money into sterling if that's when you're going to end up. So then you've just got an investment risk rather than a currency risk. So yeah, sorry, I covered two things there. As an advisor, all right, it's your costs, and then as a client, they're seeking advice. They want to know. So, you know, people are saying, what's going to happen? Where's it going to go? And particularly when you had this, I call it craziness in the UK. How many chancellors? How many prime ministers? Okay, guess what? Everybody wants information. So as an advisor, you need to know, or you need to be able to give an opinion and be able to give people some form of direction. Priority is more tech. So I'm a big fan of tech, as you know. So the priority is producing more tech, make our advisors have access to every piece of information. Priority is to find more good advisors. Okay, so we're always looking for quality advisors. We want to grow. So locations I'm never so concerned about. I'll watch trends, I'll see what's happening in the world, and we want to expand and grow, you know. So, you know, Saudi Arabia, there's lots of money going in there at the moment, isn't there? Let's see what happens. Okay, we'll look at the trends and we'll try, as every advisor I'm sure does, try and make sure we've got great products, and then we're looking at those markets and talking to people in those markets. Okay, so yeah, it's always difficult to predict the future. No crystal ball. Okay, but, I mean, you're absolutely right. You know, we've got these problems with currencies. Okay, and countries are looking to adapt. You know, Hong Kong has put in some regulations for crypto, and that's really interesting because you think, right, they're now going to say that you can retail crypto in Hong Kong, and you can't think the Chinese haven't agreed. So guess what? That's right on the edge of China. You know, in the Olympics, the Chinese yuan was used digitally. Okay, so the more you get interest in it, the more people are going to be aware of digital currencies. And then, of course, if you say you've got government digital currencies, which absolutely is going to be the future, the UAE will do exactly the same, a digital dirham. Then, of course, if you've got a digital dirham and if you've got a digital sterling, okay, don't forget Rishi is a fan. Okay, he likes stable coins. So again, you have to say that reduces government costs. Then do people think, okay, well, I don't want a government cryptocurrency or digital currency. I want Bitcoin. I want something that's controlled by a computer. So I think it's just like there's an opportunity there that people are going to be able to invest in. So, you know, predict when it's going to go up. Okay, that one's a difficult one, but you're seeing more and more interest in it. Okay, and I believe that you're going to see that it's going to become mainstream, and there's going to be some good increases in the value in the future. Yes. Okay, we're working on it. So I mean, it's basically that they've got a different process there. Okay, they issue a notification. Okay, then you argue. Okay, before you get to the final conclusion. Okay, I'm in that stage where I'm putting legal arguments. Interestingly, I haven't been able to give any evidence yet. Okay, which is kind of crazy. Okay, at some stage, okay, we'll reach a conclusion, and I'm confident that it will be a positive conclusion for myself. So don't forget, it's not a deVere issue, it's a Nigel issue. Okay, and it's kind of like the first time I've had one. So different challenge for me, and I'm very confident I'll come through it, and we'll be in a position whereby we can say that we've actually got a good outcome, and I can, you know, make sure you're the first to know. So he's a leader. I think he's an orator. He can stand up and talk. He has a chance. He's in a difficult situation. So, you know, I'm going to blame the politicians. They're boxed in. Like it's difficult, right? So, you know, Liz tried wrongly to borrow money, reduce taxes. Okay, it's not possible. Okay, you know, does it actually reduce taxes, get the country producing more? Maybe. Okay, and the market almost sacked her. Okay, so it's quite interesting. And I think it's the first time that the stock market has fired a prime minister, but the market forced an issue there. So that's really interesting. I think he's got a difficult job because he obviously can't reduce taxes. If he increases taxes too much, that's going to cause a problem. But he is a leader. Okay, he's limited in what he can do. He can tweak things, and then he's got a general election coming up within 2 years. So he's got to show that he's a good alternative to the Labour Party. Okay, I mean, I think from a investment point of view, I think we know where we are. So I think it's really good from an investment point of view. We know where we are. He can't do too much. Hopefully, he doesn't do too much to pensions, because pensions is a soft target. You know, nobody notices. You can put a little tax on here and there, and everybody kind of forgets about it because there's a pension one day. Hope he doesn't go for the soft target. Let's see what he does. Okay, but I think from an investment point of view, we know where we are. We've got a leader. He's conservative with a small c, so he's not going to do anything too extreme. And that leads us then to be able to advise clients. There's a good market opportunity right now. We know where we are. You can invest your money. Watch out for pensions. Okay, but nevertheless, we're in a situation where we've got a little bit more of a definite situation than we've had during the last 12 months. Comments. I mean, let's explain. So first of all, international financial advice is complex. Okay, super important. So just think, if you're in the Middle East, then your residence is the Middle East. Okay, your domicile, okay, you may have been born in France, you may have been born in England. Okay, so you've got a domicile, okay, they want to tax you. You're in a country, you can use the products that are available in that country. And where you're going to end up, so you're giving cross-border advice. It's much more complex. You've got currency involved. So it's not like a UK advisor. All he's doing is he's giving investment advice. We're looking at various different jurisdictions. So, for example, if we're giving pension advice, we've got a UK regulator, we've got a regulator in the UAE, okay, and potentially, depends where the client's going to end up, we've got another regulator. So it's complex. We've actually got a series of regulations. And in order to give advice in today's world, you have to pass your examinations, for absolutely sure. The trustees won't accept the business unless you've got your qualifications. Charges typically 1% per annum. Okay, is that expensive? Okay, well, not if you're actually having your money managed, you're getting a good service, and you're being looked after. So no, I think we do an incredible job, and actually the risk that we take, because clients can come back to us if something goes wrong. We need professional indemnity insurance. So we've got regulations, often in 3 or 4 different jurisdictions, depending on the client. Okay, we've got professional indemnity insurance that we have to pay for and cover. We've got compliance officers in each of those jurisdictions. Actually, there's a lot goes into it, as well as the advisor being qualified. So again, actually, if they look at the industry, you'll find that it's well regulated, and there's actually a lot goes into giving good advice. I mean, that's not correct. There is complaints procedure. So just think you complain in the country that you were given advice. So if you were in the UAE, you don't complain to the UK, because the UK don't have jurisdiction. If the trustee did the wrong job and they're in the UK, then obviously you'd complain to the UK regulator. But if you're in the UAE, the advisor is regulated. Okay, so then you complain to the regulation where you receive the advice. So there is a complaints procedure for each company, and each regulator has it. Okay, can't complain to the UK, because the UK, well, we weren't there when you gave advice. So it's just knowing that there's a procedure, and you complain in the country you received it. So if you received it outside the UAE, you complain to that particular regulator. If I ever stop enjoying it, okay, so I enjoy it, I have fun. So no intention. If I keep fit, healthy, okay, no chance of stopping.
And then I said that was the final question. There is one that I didn't ask, was about Putin, the situation.
Oh, wow.
Just a quick answer on Putin. How concerned are you about Putin at the moment?
I think if he was going to throw a nuke in, he'd have done it. Okay, I mean, it's a crazy situation, fairly obviously. How concerned am I? Less concerned than I was in the beginning, let's put it that way. Okay, so I mean, I think he's now at a stage where he wants to negotiate, perhaps. Okay, maybe I'm an over-optimist. I'm more concerned about China. So I think you've got superpower battle, you've got China, and you've got the US, and actually, Taiwan, etc. Okay, is Russia, part of the China alliance? Yeah, maybe. Okay, there's certainly signs of that, right? So is this superpowers? We have a divided world. That concerns me. So not necessarily, do I think lots of, nukes, etc. But I think there's a divided world. You've got China's developed its own tech, doesn't match with American tech. Okay, again, you could go back to currencies, is this separation? And if you've got separation, you continue with high inflation. My concern is a split world. Let's go bipolar. Okay, I guess that's my biggest concern from an economic and from a global point of view.